Today we're going to be taking a look at the Typhur Sync Gold Dual wireless thermometer. I'm Dave. This is Dave's House of Barbecue. Welcome home. So I have been sent pretty much every wireless thermometer that's been made. I've gotten offers to review other ones. I haven't even done all the reviews. And they all work pretty much the same way. They have a little bit of a signal that comes out of the wireless probe, and that sends a signal to the base unit, and then the base unit sends a stronger Bluetooth signal out into your house so that you can pick up a signal on your phone, and you can actually see what the temperature is. The problem is the Bluetooth signal that comes off of these things tends to be pretty weak. They always advertise somewhere between 300 and 600 feet, but that's usually like an unobstructed 600 feet. And so the second you start going through brick walls and going through aluminum siding and going through interior walls in your house, it drops down significantly. So that's my biggest issue with these types of thermometers. The second issue I always have with them is the ambient temperature probe, this part that tells the temperature of your actual pit. Sometimes is anywhere from 20 to 30 degrees off, and it even says so in the literature. Oh, it might be 20 to 30 degrees off. So it kind of defeats the purpose to me of using these things, and I don't really use them all that much. I've disregarded a lot of emails from a lot of companies asking me to review thermometers like this, but I recently got an email from the company Typhur for this thermometer, and the reason I said yes to this one is they probably sent me last year my favorite thermometer that I reviewed in recent years. It's just a pen thermometer. It's super simple, really quick, really accurate. I love the design. If you want to see more about this, I'll put my link to my review up here on the page. I mean, this is almost perfect. There's a couple little things I would have changed about it, but I use this over my ThermoWorks, over my ThermoPen. I use it over all of the stuff. So this is my go-to thermometer in the kitchen. So when they asked me to review this one, I was intrigued. Not only because it's made by them and I'm a fan of their product so far, but it handles the signal in a little bit of a different fashion than some of these other thermometers that I've used before. Besides giving me this for free, I'm not getting any sort of monetary endorsement from them. They offered it to me, but I turned it down because I like to do just a straight up review in exchange for this. The only thing they did give me, and this is more for you, is there's going to be a discount code. It's Dave Barbecue 10. I'll put the code down here at the bottom, and it'll also be linked in the description as well. Now let's start with an unboxing. So first of all, I know this is little, but I always love their package design. It's super simple. It's just like, cardboard with white print on it. They don't go into wasting money with all sorts of ink and everything. I don't know why I like it, but I just like the design. It's clean and simple. When you open it up, the first thing you'll see in there is you've got the actual thermometer unit itself. This is called the Gold Dual, and it has sort of this nice rose gold, sort of almost warm gold edges on it, which is really nice, kind of classy looking. Also inside you've got instruction manuals, registration cards, all that stuff, and then you have a cord to charge it. It's USB, standard USB on one side and USB-C on the other, and you use that to charge the base, and in turn the base charges the thermometers, just like all the other wireless thermometers you have out there. They actually have two versions of this Sync thermometer. They've got the Dual, which is this one. You can see right here it's got probe number 1 and 2 on it, but they also have a quad version of this with 4 probes that you can use to keep track of your meat. So the Dual is going to retail for $229, and then the quad I think is going for $299, so $300 for the quad. So before I get into anything, I'm just going to get the cord out. I'm going to plug this thing in, and I'm just going to let it sit for a while and charge. In turn, it'll charge the meat probes as well. To test out this Typhur today, what we're going to do is we're going to be cooking a brisket hot and fast on my pellet grill. My pellet grill has 2 meat thermometers in it, so what we're going to do is we're going to put each one of these thermometers into the brisket, and then we're going to put the probes from the pellet grill in a similar location. I don't expect the temperatures to be exactly the same, but if they fall within like a 5 or 10 degree area, then I'll know it's pretty accurate. The meat will have different temperatures. One of the probes could be in a fat pocket or something. It's not going to be exactly the same all the time, but it will give me a good idea as to whether these probes are accurate at all. So there are 3 distinct advantages that Typhur says this unit has over other units on the market right now. So we're going to go through each one of these individually and see if they are actually an advantage. The first advantage, Typhur says, is the way that this probe communicates to the base station. Now, most of these other probes, they communicate from here to here via Bluetooth. This sends out a Bluetooth signal and then this picks it up. This is a little different. These probes send out something called a sub 1G wireless signal. So it's like a Wi-Fi signal that's under 1 gigahertz. And the advantage of this, supposedly, is supposed to be that it's a little bit more penetrating and it's a little bit more long range. They claim the range between this and this is unobstructed 3,000 feet, obstructed 700 feet, which would cover most houses, I would think. I mean, 3,000 feet would definitely cover it. So what we're going to do to test it, I'm going to take the base unit and I'm going to go walk into my front yard and walk to the street and see how far I can go without losing a signal. I made it all the way up to the front of my house. I'm standing here on the street and it has not dropped the signal yet. In fact, I walked 3 houses down and I didn't manage to lose a signal, and then I just got tired and didn't feel like walking anymore. There's really no situation where I'm going to be walking 3, 4, 5 houses down, but it had really great connectivity between the probes and the base station. I also went into every room of my house. It connects in the kitchen just fine. Everywhere I went, doesn't matter if it's a solid brick wall or if it's going through vinyl siding, it connected to the entire square footage of my house, even the basement. So anywhere I go in my house, I can carry the base unit receiver with me and I can get the signal from these probes. The second advantage that Typhur says this has over other units is you can control all of your set temperatures, all of your alarms and everything right from this screen. It has a 3.5-inch TTF LCD screen. The screen is not touch sensitive. You use these little arrows and the select button there to navigate everything. Whereas with these, it's dependent on having a phone or some sort of device to connect via Bluetooth to this. And then that's how you control everything through the app. So you can choose whether you use the app or not with this wireless thermometer. So let's say you're someone that doesn't have a phone. I have a friend who still has a flip phone and he swears he's never going to update it. So this would be the thermometer for someone that doesn't ever want to use their phone, wants decent range or really good range, and be able to control everything right here on the unit. So that is indeed an advantage if that is something you're into. A third advantage that they say is that each one of these probes has 6 temperature sensors in it. There's 5 in this section that goes into the meat, and then there's one additional one for the ambient temperature right here in the ceramic part. Why on earth do you need 5 probes here? Well, imagine you're cooking like a prime rib and you stab this into the middle. It's going for a couple hours and the outside edge is reading 135 degrees or something along those lines, but the middle is still at 110 or something. This basically averages out and finds you the lowest temperature, so you make sure that the entire piece of meat hits whatever your target temperature is. So it basically, you can get information from the whole length of it and then figure out that the piece of meat is completely done, instead of just the thermometer went off, that section of the meat has reached temperature instead of the entire length of the probe. So that's pretty cool, and it did a fine job. I mean, the chuck roast that I smoked and the brisket that I smoked all came out the exact temperature I wanted them to. So as far as I can tell, that worked. Temperatures were accurate too. They compared nicely to the probes that I have on my smoker. So pretty good. And the fourth advantage, I know I said there was 3, but now that I think about it, there's 4, is the wireless connectivity of the base unit. I can take this and bring it into my kitchen or anywhere in my house really, and it's still connected to the probes. But since I set it up with my Wi-Fi password in my house, it then sends the signal to Wi-Fi. and I can go anywhere. Well, for instance, I'm going to test it out. I'm going to go drive to the bakery to pick up some bread. I'll let you know if I get a signal. I mean, you can see it's pretty much spot on, and I'm 3 miles away. I'm at the bakery right now trying to pick up some bread for dinner and for lunches this weekend. So yeah, 2 miles away, 3 miles away, and it's still getting a signal over the 5G. So you can go anywhere. You can go run errands, you can go to work. Let's say you're cooking a brisket that you know is going to take 12 hours. You put it on in the morning and monitor it from your desk. That's pretty sweet. I mean, I really like this thermometer. The connectivity of the probes to the base station is exceptional. You're going to get probably the furthest distance you've gotten from any of these other types of probes you've used before. The Wi-Fi connection is really great too. I can go anywhere. I can go to work. I can go to Alaska if I want, and I can connect to my pit from there. It's great as long as I have a cell signal in Alaska. I know the cell coverage up there is kind of spotty, but anyway, you get the point. The probes and the temperatures are really accurate. It took a little while for the ambient temperature to kind of like even out, but once it did, it was within like 5 degrees of the temperature on my grill, and that's great because it was they were at different heights, so it's not going to be exactly the same. Really good. Touchscreen's great, easy to read. I know it's not easy to read on this screen because it's probably syncing up with my phone and blinking, but it's really easy to read, really easy to navigate, and just great overall. So I'm becoming a real Typhur fan. So far, I love their probe thermometer. I love this thing. I'm going to use this thing pretty much exclusively over all the other ones I've received in the mail. Remember, if you go down below, there's a link, Dave Barbecue 10, to get 10% off of certain products at their website, including this. I think it's worth it. I like the look of it. It's classy. If you're in the market for a new wireless probe, this is definitely one to consider. As always, thanks for watching. Make sure you follow me on social media. I am on Facebook and I am on Instagram, just at Dave's House of Barbecue. Also, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the little bell so you get notifications every time I make a new video. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. I try to respond to comments as quickly as I can. I've got a lot of videos coming out real soon. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.